Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast. Ozcast. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
This season of Negative Camber the Motorsport Show is proudly brought to you by True Steel Frames, Move Yourself Trailer Hire, Red Mill Bakery, Pro Karts Race Centre Paraka, Barbarino, TD Racing, T4, Patrizzi Course, IKD, DR Karts Australia and Radio Italia Uno. Welcome back to Negative Camber, the Motorsport Show, and one of our, I'll call her a regular now, one of our friends of the show and a regular is Charlie Barlow from V8 Supercars. She's joining us now, and CB, how are you? It's been a little while since we've seen you.
Yeah, it has. Thank you so much for having me, Jamie. I think I was actually looking through my camera roll because I knew we took a selfie together. Yep. And I knew it was Adelaide, but I didn't know the date. And then I looked and it was the 1st of December, 2022. So it feels like I saw you yesterday in some parts, and then I feel like it's been a long time in others. But I can't believe we're actually in March. I can't believe it. But I'm sure I'm going to be saying that when we're in June and I'm standing in Darwin somewhere. But yeah, it's wonderful to be back.
Yeah, no, always a pleasure to have you on. You are looking really good. You look like you're going through a bit of a training regime at the moment since I last saw you. Looking really, like, jaw's really nice and tight. Everything's looking great. What are you doing?
Oh, absolutely nothing. Well, I guess I've changed roles slightly at Supercars at the start of this year. I transitioned more out of the digital space and being a journalist into sort of PR and comms. So I'm kind of leading the PR and media in terms of scheduling, in terms of making, literally making drivers be at the things that I tell them they have to be at. And sort of under the guise of doing more external, so outward, how do we promote our sport to the world, I guess. And I'll be honest with you, it's a stressful job because trying to get everything organised is just a push and pull all of the time. So you sort of you're liaising with everyone and their dog to make sure that we can get one event done. That I'm in charge of the whole promotional schedules for main game Supercars as well as the Dunlop series, and I think that's probably what's keeping me trim is just the pure stress and running on adrenaline. But, I think anyone who works in motorsport will say that's pretty much the bar. And I think I'm not special at all. I think that's just normal.
Look, it's funny how you say that, because even in karting, like even just a race meet in karting, it's from the moment you arrive at the track, it's just go until you're rolling the trailer back into your driveway at the end of the day. And it's not until you actually sit on the couch right at the end and after you've showered up and refreshed yourself that it just hits you like a wall and you're out. Bang, that's it. It's all over. And that's only at grassroots level. So I can't imagine what it would be like at the top.
Well, I think grassroots, I take my hat off to every single person that's in any category in grassroots motorsport, because you are everything. You are your own mechanic, you're your own logistics, you're doing your team management because you're doing all the paperwork, you're packing the trailer, you're making sure you've got something to eat other than track food. You're doing every single thing as well as competing. So really, I just show up at the track and I'm telling people where they need to be and, hosting things and X, Y, Z. But I don't have to do any of the the physical grunt work to actually be there. And grassroots motorsport, there are people that are just, excuse the pun, but driven by their passion. And it's just, I think you take your hats off to everyone, because, in the small kind of role that I played within my son's karting in sort of 2021, I didn't do any of the hard work. I showed up and was taking photos, whereas my former partner was doing everything. You think, goodness, it's really what's the word I'm looking for? It's hard to describe, because it's just it's labor intensive, and you're doing it purely for the love of it. So no, I think you guys have got a way harder job than I do. I show up at the track, I smile, I make sure, as I say, make sure drivers are where they need to be, and we're doing everything that we can to engage with fans while we're there. But no, I don't do any of the grunt work at all.
Yeah. Given the fact that you're so close to a lot of the teams down pit lane, and going on this topic, do you feel that the love of the motorsport stops and it becomes more business and just routine? Or do you feel that this passion is still there? It's just disguised by all the heavy corporate stuff and all the bits and pieces that they need to do to really just be compliant?
Well, you could look at it, two different ways. I think everyone up and down pit lane, everyone is there because they love motorsport. That's what got you to this pit lane in the first place, is your hard work, your tenacity, and your passion for the sport. And I think everyone does still carry that without a shadow of a doubt, because everyone wants what's best for the sport. It's just like any organisation, especially elite sport as well, everyone just has a little bit of a different idea of how that might be. And also everyone's looking at it from their own perspective. And everyone that I get to work with, and I get to speak to team principals, I speak to team PRs, I speak to mechanics, I speak to engineers, I speak to truck drivers, and everyone gives me their ideas of what they believe. But what is great is that we can do that. I think if you were in a Formula One pit lane, for example, those conversations wouldn't be happening. And I think in supercars, where on the world stage, we're obviously smaller than Formula One, obviously, but within Australia, and certainly within touring cars, we are right up there as a leader, and everyone that is involved in this sport wants it to stay that way. And everyone, even though, of course, everyone wants to win, you're not going to be best mates with your competitors, but I genuinely believe everyone is there because they want the best for the sport, and they want to do their best for the sport. And I think, I've harped on about this so much, that it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. It's something that you definitely sign up for, and everyone that I work with goes above and beyond. No one is sitting there reading their job description going, no, sorry, I don't do that. Everyone's going, hey, how can I muscle in? So, for example, it could be something like the season launch that we had, gosh, it was last Monday before, I can't even remember. The whole week
has been longer than that.
2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks tomorrow. 2 weeks Monday it'll be. Oh my gosh, the whole couple of weeks have been a blur. But the end of the evening, we've got to push all the cars back. They're parked we're in the venue in Alexandria, and there was sort of two rooms. There was like the holding room where all the cars started, and they drove in to the main room, which is, oh my gosh, an incredible moment. And we then had to push the cars back so that the next day they would be put on the trailers and taken over to Sydney Motorsport Park. And you're not asking anyone to stay back, but there's myself, there's the head of TV, there's the head of comms, and also Mark Dutton, like pushing these cars back. And funny enough, I was doing it in a dress and heels, which I would like, some kind of medal for. But
that's good cred. That's fair dinkum. That's good cred.
But they were making a joke. They're like, "Are you even pushing it?" I was like, "Look, my hands are on it, so I'm going to say yes. All right, doesn't matter how much effort I'm putting in here." No, they're wonderful people, but it's no one says, "Oh, hey, can you stay back?" People just do, and I think that's what's wonderful about our sport, and also why we're so well respected in other motorsport categories around the world. Because when you get an Aussie in any kind of over in Europe in a team, they're going to work hard, and they're going to give everything, go above and beyond. And also just find solutions to problems. Like Aussies are just really good at that, at just going, okay, is what it is, let's move forward, let's find a way through. I hear that all the time in pit lane, and it's a credit to everyone. It certainly is.
Yeah. Look, there's no doubt about it. They've had to have this, and it's probably been like that for the series for a long time, whereas there's been this real camaraderie and what's good for the sport. And that's probably what's led to Supercars thriving and obviously surviving when it was having its sort of down period over the majority of sports during the COVID period, where, everyone sort of banded together, stuck together, and pushed through. And if anything, it probably kind of galvanized the majority of the pit lane. So and that's the feel that I got even when we caught up at the 500, was that irrespective of the color or the badge, and the badge has probably become less relevant these days. It might sort of reignite itself again, but it was people catching up all the way up and down through pit lane. Hey, how you going? What do you need? All that sort of stuff, which was really cool to see, because there's no way that, as you've seen in Drive to Survive in the latest season, there's no way that they'd be handouts and at that level, which is like top echelon. But listening to a podcast recently called Stories of Super Touring. So it's a new podcast that's come out from the UK, which talks about the Super Touring era, peak Super Touring era. And like they still talk about, they've mentioned about the V8 Supercar series because some of the drivers have crossed over time. And it's still to this day revered as the premier probably touring car series in the world, and even back then. So we should be, I think we should be proud and probably grateful that the series is what it is, to be honest. I think a lot of people, especially the keyboard warriors, really take the mickey out of it and need to take a step back and say, well, imagine what you'd have if it was gone. There's a bit of perspective that needs to be put into that, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, social media is the place where everyone is always entitled to their opinion. It's just now it allows everyone to voice it, and voice it in a way that perhaps, I'm being very diplomatic here, voice it in a way that probably it shouldn't be done. You wouldn't say that to someone's face. And I find it so interesting that our drivers know most of these people. They know who they are. They've met them before, and they are normally the first person to come up at a signing session and want their hat or their poster or whatever signed. And they will point them out, and you just think, wow, okay, to me that's quite sad, because these guys, you're at elite level, you're fierce competitors. We are talking tenths of seconds. There is nothing in this field. These guys are operating at the highest level they possibly can, and their job does not stop when they come off the track. As I say, I'm in charge of the promotional schedule. It's 11 pages long over a 3-day event. There's a lot that we ask of these guys. There's a lot that we ask of the teams. There's a lot but there's also a lot of what they expect of themselves as well. And they have sponsors to service, commercial partners. There's a lot that goes into it. And I think for them to then be criticised over things that in a nasty way. Fair enough. Exactly. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and yes, of course, voice it. And not everyone has to agree with everyone, but it's about being constructive in a way and not just tearing everything down because you're sitting behind a screen. But I will have to say that in Adelaide, especially, my gosh, fans were just amazing. You could feel the atmosphere, especially Sunday. It was palpable. And just to watch that moment of Shane van Gisbergen's epic burnout on the start-finish line, that is one that I will remember forever. I'm going to be sitting in my rocking chair when I'm, hopefully 101. That's my goal year. And I will be talking about that burnout, but mostly about seeing people's faces and feeling the atmosphere, feeling the energy, and just seeing the shock of the fact that he gets out of the car and the car's still doing a burnout, and he goes and gets the trophy. everyone was losing their minds.
Yep.
And I think those moments are the reason why we do what we do. It's to have those just massive, iconic images in our brains for the rest of our lives. And Shane is incredible what he does. I'm sorry, like, keyboard warriors come at me. No one does a skid like that bloke. He's just brilliant. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
And he knows that fans love it, and he just delivers. And I genuinely love that about him. And like I say, he creates these moments for us. And I think that's what I focus on in our sport, especially, is that this is what we have. This is what we can give. And everyone works so hard to make that happen. And still, even though, as you say, we've been the premier motorsport category in touring cars for decades, and yet we're still continuing to innovate, still continuing to go, you know what, we're now going to go into a Gen 3 era. Of course, it's been a really tough time for everyone involved. It's not easy to roll out brand new race cars at all, but we're still continuing and saying, you know what, we can do this better. You know what, we're going to deliver this for fans. We want to have closer, better racing. These cars look so tough. I cannot wait to see them in Newcastle. But I don't envy the teams. Starting in Newcastle, street circuit, concrete jungle, eek. But it's going to be one hell of a race.
Yeah. Let's wind it back a little bit and go to talk about the Adelaide 500 because when we last spoke, it had been announced, the election had been run and done, and there was anticipation surrounding the event. And I know that you hadn't actually been to the Adelaide 500 before, prior to you starting with Supercars. So what did you think of it?
Honestly, up there is one of my favourites. As I say, the fans are amazing. The precinct itself is just like so full of anything you could possibly imagine to do. Like, I just enjoyed wandering around and seeing everything. Concerts were mind-blowing. Like, I got to watch the Killers on Sunday night, and everyone was just having the best time. I think that in terms of the racing as well, it delivers. It really, really does. I think we had those just great moments, and to see Brock Feeney, oh my gosh, that was just mega. And then for the WAU guys to send off Holden iconically on the Saturday was just, you couldn't write this stuff. I remember we were at the media event when they unveiled the cars, and I we asked them that exact question, like, what would it mean, not only to you, but this team that has so much Holden history, to take home a win or even a podium? And the pair of them were like, I don't even think I can describe it. I don't even think, like, I can't even try and imagine what that would mean. And you could see it. You could just see it in that garage when it all went down. They were just elated. And I was so, so happy for them. Because, it was just the perfect way to send it off. And Bruce Stewart's face, he was just like, you hope these things happen, and then they happen, and you just don't know what to do with yourself. So I'm very excited to be back at Adelaide again this year. And also, I have to give a big shout out to the Adelaide 500 social team. They are sensational. So they came to the launch. They were at our media day this year, capturing unique content for the Adelaide 500, which, when you've got 25 drivers that are going through all the different media day stations. So just so anyone, what do we do? Like most sports, we have a media day. We get all of the guys in, we stagger it in times, and they go through different stations. So they'll go get their headshots done. They'll go and stand in front of the LED wall and have those moving pictures. Some of them might do sort of flashback content while they're there as well. They had a sit-down interview with Channel 7. They also went to digital, where they go and do the GIFs and all that sort of stuff and answer sort of questions for digital content. And then also they had the Adelaide 500 station as well, where another set of headshots, and then also more digital content. And all the drivers have gone through this. The night before was the season launch, so we're all quite tired, but they've suck it up and do it like we all do. And the Adelaide guys have just really smashed it in their coverage of the event. So they don't just leave it until, the event's sort of coming up. They're doing it all year, just keeping that momentum up. So kudos to them, because they've done a sensational job. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what more they do this year, because the event is iconic. It's in the Hall of Fame for a reason.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just seems to be that, again, this category is just brilliant at, and everyone involved in it is at looking at what we're doing and going, you know what, how can we make it better? How can we deliver that X factor for fans? So yeah, and that's at every single level. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in Adelaide. And the reason why I'm laughing is because Gen 3 is just such an unknown. Everyone you speak to, they go, I just don't quite know how this is going to play out. And that in itself is quite unsettling. And I'm not even the one driving the cars. But on the other end of the stick, it's so exciting. And just to see people's reactions to these cars is, again, it'll be something that I will remember this year, because I think we're going to have a lot of moments where we just go, whoa, I was not expecting that. And I really hope that it just propels us again into, sort of the next level of being the premier motorsport category.
Yeah. And look, I mean, I was lucky enough to see the Gen 3 cars up close when they were doing the demonstration laps at the 500, and they do look cool. Like, I mean, all the supercars look cool, but it's nice to see the Mustang actually look like the Mustang for starters. But kudos to not only the teams, even just how they've presented the cars this year. I mean, they all look great. It's hard to actually pinpoint which one would be the standout in terms of like the best livery or the best presented, because they're all brand spanking new. They're not rehashed cars of like what they've had to use over the last couple of years because of the Gen 3 development. But the Adelaide 500 itself, for me, it was good. I knew straight away it was going to be a great event from the moment I walked through the gates, and you could see the infrastructure had stepped up tenfold. Compared to what it was. Even my last trip to that race was 2018, if I remember correctly. No, 2019, because they ran the race in 2020, and then you had COVID straight after that. But you could tell that it was tired. You could tell that the infrastructure had just been rehashed from stuff that had been there for years. And I'd even made the remark to you when I saw you in the pit lane that we were watching the 2020 race on Fox, and they were doing the Foxtel Classics for supercars, and it was just, you look at the overhead shot of pit straight, and they had what was the old shade structure, and it was all just discolored, and it looked terrible. And you're like, wow, we're presenting this as like a marquee event, and even the marquees were like, everything was just looked cheap. And the previous government and the fact that it was Tourism SA did a fantastic job of trying to kill an iconic event. So the short time frame that we had, and the fact that they put on and presented the way that they did, and I think credit to the Australian Grand Prix Corporation as well for lending some of the material in terms of corporate boxes and bits and pieces. It looked like a marquee event again. It just, I think it had to be taken away in order for us to fully appreciate it again. And then, of course, the racing on track was great too. So, I'm like you. I can't wait. I've already pre-booked my tickets, so I'm going to be there for sure. Your Patriot Robbie is going to be coming there for a concert, so I'm sure there's going to be good numbers again this year as well. So, very much looking forward to it. We will cover Gen 3 now, and probably hard to describe. I mean, obviously the question marks are not on what the cars look like. We know that they look great. There's obviously been talk about parity, because the media have gone gangbusters on that. But also, I guess the question mark is whether how many of the existing fan base that were GM related are going to follow through with the Chevy brand as well. So be keen to see what your take on all that is.
Well, I guess I can speak from my experience when, I post things about them. So, on my TikTok, I did a video about what happens at a Supercar shakedown. And really, I would say 80% of the comments on that, which, there's probably less than 100 comments, but that's what I can base it from, is, gosh, I can't wait to see these. Gosh, they look tough. They sound amazing. Exactly what we've both said. And then you do have an element of, you know, it's American cars. I'm really not into American cars. Like, it's a shame that it's sort of had to go this way. But I just think that when they see these cars on track, I totally understand that, you know, the Chevrolet brand is not for you. Totally get that. But I don't think we're going to be able to deny the fact of the quality of racing and just how amazing these cars sound, look, feel when they're honestly louder. They are so much louder. Every test day that I've been to, when they roll down that pit lane, you feel it in your chest. And it's not that you didn't kind of anyway, but it's just next level. And I think the entertainment value of these cars is going to just blow us all away, I think. And I think I haven't even seen 25 of them at once. I've seen maybe 2 or 3 at once, like, thundering through pit lane or doing laps, you know, at QR. That's what I've seen. I wasn't at the Sydney test day, so I can't attest to what that was like. But they weren't racing in anger. We weren't, you know, they weren't at what we would have, you know, buzzing off or rumbling off the line that we're going to see in Newcastle. So I think that all I can ask for is for people to have an open mind and just try and enjoy the show and enjoy the skill, and give credit to everyone that has worked so incredibly hard to get these cars done. But yes, I know, come at me, keyboard warriors, with your P word, and come at me with your, you know, it was delayed a year. Yes, acknowledge all of that, but it does not take away the fact that it's a huge undertaking. And from the motorsport department at Supercars, from every single team, it's been a ginormous effort. And especially massive shout out to every mechanic in pit lane, because those guys have been putting in hours that probably shouldn't be talked about. You know, it's starting work at 6 a.m, finishing at midnight, you're back at 6 a.m. again to get these cars prepared. It's weekends. It's time, so much time away from their families and their loved ones, and pretty much putting their life outside motorsport on hold to ensure that we're on track in Newcastle. And of course, engineers and team managers have been doing the same. But the mechanics, without them, we really would not be where we are. So I think that a massive acknowledgement to their hard work and their massive dedication. And because we are still tweaking these cars, things are changed sometimes as well. So they might be working on it and get that pretty much to a point where it's done, and then something's tweaked on it. So they have to make a change. I'm sure if I had to do that with my job 100 times, I don't think I'd be all that friendly. So these guys still keep a smile on their face and still just love what they do. And I think, like, it's just a massive credit, as you say, to everyone involved, that we're gonna have cars on track, and it is going to be good. So I would just hope that everyone keeps an open mind and tries to just at least just enjoy the show. And then if it's not for you, it's not for you. Fair enough.
No, I hear. I agree with everything you said. And I also think, look, you know what? If the quality of the racing is good and it's tight, and you know the winners are a melting pot, like, you can't pick it. It's pretty unpredictable. You don't have the monotony and you don't have the monopoly like you may have had potentially in the past. I don't think anyone will complain. I think if the product's good on track and the racing's really good and you've got a variety of winners and pretty much anyone from first to 24th or 25th, I think it is, can actually win the event, then I don't think anyone will complain, because then all of a sudden it will equate to bums on seats, higher audience figures, greater unpredictability, the works. And I guess imagine we're talking about parity now, and they've had 12 months, but it's really sort of finite tweaking and tuning. Imagine what they would have had 12 months ago, like had they not taken their time to get the process right. Like, you know, interior had to be right, ergonomics had to be correct, you know, all that sort of stuff. And it's still, now that the drivers of the cars have been properly kitted out, fitted out, all the sponsor logos are on there and stuff. You know, they've even had to modify placements of stickers and stuff like that, so the drivers have got a proper bird's eye view. So I just think people have got to take a bit of a chill pill for a little bit and just let things settle, because we had an established category that was pretty much firmly in place for the majority of the last 30 years. And you know what? There's always going to be parity. There's always going to be competition. It even happens in grassroots, you know, like, you know, different tire compounds, different, you know, engine changes, new rules, new regulations, you know what? And people just get on with it, you know? So I think, yeah, I can't wait for Newcastle, to be honest with you. I think outside of Adelaide, I couldn't think of a better place to get started. And if there's a track that's steeped in history in a short space of time, in terms of race outcomes or anything like that, geez, Newcastle's it. Who can forget 2017?
I know, and again, it's another circuit that I haven't been to in my supercars career, and yeah, I'm just like, oh my god, turn one. What is going to happen? And I think, yeah, it's a place where we've had some iconic moments, and yeah, speaking to the drivers, like on or off camera, they're like, I don't know what's going to happen. We're literally just going to suck it and see here. And I think they can't deny that, you know, the red mist certainly descends, and it's going to be, I think, one of those moments where everyone is going to hold their breath. And then once we maybe get through the first lap, we might kind of go, okay, all right, let's see how many cars are still going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, as I say, we keep saying everyone's entitled to their opinion for sure. But yeah, let's just embrace this year for the changes and for the hard work that have gone into it. And yeah, I don't know, how do I say this? I really don't mean it impolitely, but I just not 21 wins, please, Shane. Just not 21, mate. You can win a few. Just dial it back a little bit if you can. No, of course. Like if he does keep winning, it's a testament to the team for sure, and it's a testament to him, the fact that man can get in anything and drive it and drive the wheels off of it. So, and I think Adrian Burgess actually said this in a meeting late last year, and it really struck a chord with me. So he's the head of Motorsport, leading the Gen 3 program. And we were in a town hall, so it's all of us together, and we're zooming to the Sydney office because I'm on the Gold Coast office. And he said that, you know, in his time in Formula One, he got to witness Senna just for a short amount of time, but got to be there and, you know, work in the team and see how he operated. And he said he probably didn't appreciate enough that he was in the presence of true greatness and a true icon and idol of the sport that was doing things that other people just couldn't do, but, you know, well, actually, no, couldn't do.
Yep.
So he said that we have a front row seat to the best years of Shane van Gisbergen. And, you know, Ford fan, Camaro fan. I nearly said Holden then, damn it. You know,
that's all right. Lee did it last week in the show. You're all good.
It's going to take a while. We've only been talking about it for a few years. But anyway, fan, non-fan, however, just to have a front row seat to witness Shane and what he's doing in this sport is something that I know that I'm going to make sure I appreciate. And I, you know, because I would do the same if it was, you know, Lewis Hamilton, for example. You know, again, non-fan or a fan, you have to appreciate what he's done. We've had Jamie Whincup, we've had Craig Lowndes, we've had these icons of our sport, but I get to have a front row seat. And I'm so grateful for that. But it's something that I guess we all need to acknowledge, that we have someone who can win 21 races in a season. And as much as a sport, I don't want the season already done and dusted by the Goldie when we've got a round to go. Of course I don't. I want it to go down to the wire. I want it to be, a ding-dong battle to the very end. But you just can't take away from the fact that he's going to be someone that we talk about, and someone that is going to set the bar that other ones are going to have to rise to. And he should be commended for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we wrap up, let's do a bit of a look in Charlie's crystal ball. And let's think of, we'll do Newcastle first. So, and look, it's so hard to predict because there's no form line really. And to compare Eastern Creek to Newcastle between testing and parity and stuff like that's just chalk and cheese. Who do you think will take out Newcastle? And let's put it now in writing or on video. Who do you think will take out the driver's title this year?
Oh gosh, okay. I'll start with Newcastle. As you say, completely, quite rightly, we don't have a form guide. We drivers included, don't know what's going to happen. And this is my third season in Supercars. I'm by no means an expert, and I can't pull out every single stat or, past win or anything along those lines. So maybe you want to take my predictions with a pinch of salt. However, I will say who is looking really strong, and through the testing that I've witnessed at QR, I'm thinking that Matt Stone Racing are going to do quite well. I think they might surprise us. So through, the couple of test days that I've witnessed, they rolled out of the truck. The cars were fine the entire time. They weren't under them, pulling things off, putting things back on. It was very, very smooth. So they seem extremely confident in the cars that they have.
Yep.
And I think that those two guys, they're both in such good places. I think we're going to see something really quite great from them. The BJR cars as well, I think they're all performing really well. Andre, of course, was a pace setter in Sydney. I know that doesn't carry across, but I think there is something with his sports sedans background especially. I think Andre is really going to take to these cars so well. So I'm intrigued. I'll be keeping an eye on Andre. And of course, we can never discount the Bulls. You can't. Speaking to people after Sydney Motorsport Park, they were like, oh yeah, we were sandbagging. Well, there's more in it. We were just not letting everyone see what we had. Yep. You're like, okay, all right. Let's see how that plays out in Nui. Again, Shane can never be ruled out. In terms of a Ford team, I am looking forward to seeing what Thomas Randall can do, because Newcastle is a good place for him. And he, again, we saw glimpses of it last year. He settled in. He has got raw pace. He's a sensational human being. And I think that I would really love to see something from Thomas in Nui. I think he's got some X factor there. As a winner, gosh, okay, all right. What am I going to pick? I really want to pick a complete left field. So I'm going to go Andre. Andre Heimgartner is going to win one of the two races.
Yep.
And wow, that's a bold statement, isn't it? Okay. And then who else? I think, Shane will win one of them.
Yeah.
Like he just will. Like him, Newcastle, Camaro, it's happening. Driver's title. So as much as I'd like to see, a three-peat, hopefully it's on the streets of Adelaide. I'd really like to see a top three battle of kind of Chaz, Cam, and Anton De Pasquale. I would like to see those three really go for it. These guys are well seasoned. They can drive so well in all conditions. And I think Anton this year, think Anton is really like he is already a proven winner, a proven star. He totally is. We always chuckle about his like race winning like celebrations. They're just like thumbs up, smile, like that's all Anton does. He's not the Chaz that jumps on the roof and starts floundering around didgeridoos
Courtney Frank the
in
Tank.
Darwin. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'd love to see a Courtney Frank the Tank this year.
Yeah.
Please, James Courtney. I was so excited in Perth last year. So excited. But yeah, we didn't get Frank the Tank, so missed opportunity there. But yes, I think driver's title, I would love to see Anton right up there. Yeah. I would love to see, the number 11, just consistency. Like we had him come over to Shelby Power Racing 2021, and it looked like it was on, and then it was consistency that let them down. Then last year we had definitely more race wins and building that momentum, and now we've gone and changed the car on him. But I think just pure talent, understanding of the cars. Yes, they are one of the homologation teams, but in test days they are still pulling things off and putting like intensive things, still putting the car on the patch kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how they roll out of the truck in Newcastle. I think that will be a key storyline of how are they going to be. But I would love to see Anton up there. I think he is the makings of a champion, and I think we should close eye on him.
Okay. All right. Interesting. It makes sense too. It's logical. Me, Newcastle, a Red Bull car will certainly take one. But I think Brock had the breakthrough in Adelaide. So far, if you want to base 12-hour form and testing form, he's had the wood on Shane. So I think Brock Feeney will be up there. I think Will Davison will be up there. I think he's very, very keen. I don't know Will personally as such. Love to, but if I had to, knowing Will in terms of what he's like over the course of his racing career, he would have taken what happened at Adelaide, considering he had pace, probably with him as a chip on his shoulder over the whole off season, despite the good news with with Bubs on the way. And I think he will be keen to atone and get off to a good start at Newcastle to kind of lay that ghost to bed. And you won't really do it until you get back to Adelaide, but it's good to just not end the year on a bad note like you did last year and then carry that momentum through. You just want to get off to a pretty solid start. So I'd say WD will be up there. And I think maybe a Smokey. I can't pick one at the moment, but I will. Todd Hazelwood with BRT. If cars look good, and I love Toddy's car, then I think him being in a single car team and having Mirko on there on the tools with him, I think I've already offered to Todd Italian translating services, so that that'll help. Hopefully that he takes up that offer, but it's still there, Toddy, if you're listening. And I think he'll be up there as a Smoky as well. And then championship, oh god, I think hard to go past the big three, Giz, Waters, and Chaz. But I think it's time for ADP as well. He's got to step up. He's been in the system now at Shell V Power for long enough to know how it all works. It's just whether they can get all the pieces together at one time, and if there's ever a time that you want to capitalize on it, it's whilst everyone's feeling or coming to grips with the new car. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to get you on the show later on in the year and see how the crystal ball is looking, hey?
Yeah, play it back to me and I'll be like, oh god, I didn't know anything. What was I talking about? Oh my gosh. But I think we are, like, even Larko, I'm sure we'll see it on the broadcast in Newcastle. He'll just go, I don't know how this is going to play out, and we're going to be saying it for a few different rounds. And of course, there's no form guide for these cars at any track that we are going to, so it's going to be a really exciting, interesting year. I agree with you. I think we're going to see some smokies throughout the year, and that's going to be fantastic. And yeah, I would love to see Todd at Sydney Motorsport Park. Come on, Toddy, you can do it, mate. He was fast in testing there, so I think he was top of the Fords. Yeah, so I think he can do something really sensational this year. And Todd is just a wonderful guy, wonderful talent. Like, he knows how much I adore him. So and his mum, I absolutely love Sharon to bits.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you at the track, Sharon, if you're listening. So they're just a wonderful family, and it's going to be really nice to see Toddy. And I hope he sort of settles with BRT for a little while and gets to be a part of that team. You know, they're one of the teams that so punch way above their weight in terms of size of team.
Yeah.
And, Tim Blanchard leads such a wonderful, talented group, and who do everything, by the way. So I know I keep talking about media day, but like one of the mechanics was like driving Todd to the media day. So those guys, when you talk about chip in and you talk about doing everything and talk about, the essence of grassroots motorsport, they certainly represent that. They really kick in, and, they continuously receive best presented. Like last year, Timmy Slade was really, punching and, really great qualifying, everything. So I hope that does move over to the Gen 3 era for sure. Good on yours, BRT, and I hope it just keeps going. A cool drive there.
Yeah. Charlie, it's wonderful to have you on as always. And we'll probably look forward to having you as a bit of a regular on the show moving forward. Toddy's one as well. We'll have to try and get more of the grid on there as well. And I'm going to start a bit of a campaign to get MS on our show, because I'll fangirl, to be honest. I'll have to try and find the dozens of photos that I've had with him over the time and just throw it on him as a share screen here, and he'll probably get scared. But we'll have to start a hashtag, get MS on negative camber, and then I'll retire, I think.
Well, he will love that if you show him all the photos that you've had together over the years. Like, if there's someone who appreciates the history of this sport, it is Mark Scaife for sure. And the fans that have stuck with him and with the sport for so long. Oh my gosh, you guys, like, just pencil in maybe like a 6-hour block for that podcast. I feel like that's what you're going to need, Jamie, to get through it all.
Oh, don't worry. I'll pencil a day. I don't care. We just need to make it happen somehow. So but look, love to see you again in Adelaide, and lovely to catch up with you too, Charlie. So look, thank you for coming on the show, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, definitely will. I'm off to drifting today. It's the
Nice.
autumn Matsuri at Queensland Raceway, so I've got my Mad Mike t-shirt on. I was lucky enough to host an event with him last night, so I'm going to be changing codes for the weekend.
Oh, good on you. I'm as I was saying before the interview, and apologies to the listeners that have heard birds and stuff in the background, but I'm in a holiday house at the moment for a getaway with the family for the weekend, and I'm overlooking the balcony and I see nothing but countryside and then the coast, literally, as I've looked to my right. So God country out here at the moment. It's not a bad place to work. So I can imagine what this place would have been like when we were all isolated. It was great.
Yeah, gosh, we live hard lives, don't we? I live at racetracks, you're out in the country. Yeah, tough for us. We're battlers.
Yeah. Catch up with you soon. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks so much.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast. Ozcast. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.